In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read ancient tomes. The order of the Abercast. We are the brave and bold.
Stigmata Studios presents The Jinn Jihad. The Jinn Jihad kicks your face with myths, mysteries, epic battles, suicide bombers, quirky characters, and divine power armor. In this epic graphic novel, the warrior archangels descend on a city in chaos. It's all-out war. The non-standard assembly battles an ancient terrorist organization, and their ultimate weapon, the corrected, magically enhanced, unstoppable monster, the Jinn. This graphic novel is a wild ride. It's one part distant Arab myth, one part Old Testament angelic vengeance, and one part unique heroic tough guys. Available on Amazon. Get more info on the Jinn Jihad and other titles at stigmatastudios.com.
Here come old Flat Top. He come grooving up slowly. He got the juju eyeballs. He's one holy roller. He got hair down to his knees. Got to be a joker. He just do what he please. He wear no shoe shine. He's got toe jam football. He got monkey finger. He shoot Coca-Cola. He say, I know you. You know me. One thing I can tell you, you just got to be free. Come together right now over me. He back production. He got walrus gumboot. He got Ono sideboard. He won spinal cracker. He got feet down to his knees. Hold you in the armchair. You could feel his disease. Come together right now over me. Hold on. God damn it. This is the important one. Okay. This is the important one. He roller coaster. He got early warning. He got muddy water. He won mojo filter. He say 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. You got to be good looking because he's so hard to see. Come together right now over me.
American, I'm a spring-loaded mother with an evil slant. I am the boogeyman, bring about the end with a chop on my hand.
You have to do the chop.
Yeah.
The Abercast. Occult. History. Conspiracy. Violence.
All right, welcome to the Abercast. In studio, well, actually, I'm in someone else's studio today.
Helm's Deep headquarters.
Yeah, with David Fairhead.
That's me.
Hello. Nelson W. Pyles.
Nelson W. But of course.
We just got done recording an episode of Kettle Whistle Radio, which is Dave's podcast. And since I had all my notes with me, I suckered these guys into sitting here Listen to me.
Why not?
Yeah. Okay. So before we get rolling here, I want you to support the show. Go to iTunes, rate and review. I'll give you a shout out if you do. Share the show. If you are a weird fucker and you're listening to the show and you like the stuff that we talk about on the show, you probably know another weird fucker that you could share the show with. So I want you to go ahead and do that.
Righteous.
Yes.
We got a new book dropping fast. Revenge in a Saloon Called Hell. It's going to be like any day now, bros. Any day. So
Nice.
keep your eyes out for it. Before we get into this, I just want to let everybody know that I don't know the answer to the questions I'm going to be asking tonight, nor do I care. People,
That's like every show.
yeah, people get a little bit touchy when we're going to trot off into some realms where people take a little bit more seriously than even Jesus Christ. So
True. True story. Already.
all right. So because I'm already in vacation mode, these guys are going to help me do the heavy lifting here, and just jump in whenever you want to, guys. This is unconventional Abercast, so there's no wrong way to do it. I'm recording this episode out of spite, by the way.
Which is the greatest motivating factor you can
Absolutely.
have.
But why? Explain.
This episode goes out to this fucking potato head that called me out on Facebook at the end of last show.
Oh, that fucker.
Yeah. Dave, you know that guy?
That pissed me off.
You know that guy?
I don't know who he is.
He's
but
in Big Book of Bizarro with us.
This is the story after mine.
Yeah.
his name's like Melanie.
No.
But, we don't want to say his names. He doesn't. I took away his name and I only gave him a number.
He
And his number is number 2.
He was,
I am not a number. I am a human being.
he was so mad.
Oh my god. Okay, so now that that's out of the way,
Oh, that pissed me off that night.
you just got to make sure I'm recording.
always a plus.
All right. Okay, so last episode was about culture creation. Tonight we are going to get into one of the most legendary rock and roll conspiracy theories of all time. Just for one moment, I want you to put aside questions like, is Elvis still alive? I want you to put aside questions like, was Jim Morrison actually part of a CIA plot to brainwash a whole generation? I also want you to put aside questions like, why did they even make Eddie and the Cruisers Part 2?
Perfect. Beaver Brown Band.
Because this evening, my friends, it's a hard day's night, and we're going to go to Penny Lane. That's right, Beatle Maniacs. What do they call them? Beatle Maniacs? Beatle Manias? Mix up your gin jihads. And when they are finished, I want you to replace them with surgically altered duplicates. Because tonight, I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to tell you why Paul is dead.
Oh, my God. Do you guys hate the Beatles or something? Because I actually grew up on them. No? You guys hate the Beatles?
I don't hate them. I just feel like I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't know. Before,
Hey, I'm a Sabbath fan, too, but the Beatles were...
well, they're prolific. I just feel like some unseen hidden hand is just pushing them in my face all the time. Like, why? It's fucking 2017. Why can't we get away from the 60s?
Why can't we get something else?
Yeah.
Well,
Is
here's-
really the question.
Here's the thing: like, there is never any denying the influence of the Beatles because they were doing something. It's like when people question, it's like, oh, Jimi Hendrix was the greatest guitar player who ever lived. That's not necessarily true. He didn't have. There was no one doing what he was doing at the time. He had no peers. There's a difference in that, and I've always felt the same way about the Beatles. Their influence is absolutely undeniable. Well said, John.
Thank you.
The catacombs in London, when they used to play there, they were punk rock back then.
Their influence is just absolutely it was high. It was the Who were around the same time. And the Who got stuck with the moniker of maximum R&B, and that's essentially what the Beatles were. They were phonetically photogenic a lot more than the Beatles were, and the Kinks. They were 4 good-looking lads.
The Teddy Boys.
Yeah, they were. They could certainly play the shit out of their instruments, and that's never, for me, that's never been a question. But the global, I like my Beatles through a filter. the bands that they influenced are the bands that I grew up liking. They influenced everyone from Kiss to Black Sabbath to Elvis Costello to fucking almost everyone. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But, I was never just like, here, listen to the Beatles. No, you fucking listen to the Beatles. I've heard every Beatles song almost against my will for 40 some years,
You can't avoid it. I agree. You brought up, Kiss. Ace Frehley was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix. That's incredible to me. You think about that.
There we are, guys, connecting dots.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
and Jimi Hendrix opened
I'm
for the
connecting
Monkees.
goddamn dots. That's a Ministry lyric, by the way.
Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees, who was a Beatles ripoff band. Full circle, motherfucker.
We can go forever.
All right, so I'm just going to step in here real quick and say, at this point, the only things that I really know about Paul McCartney is that he did a James Bond song once
with Wings,
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die, yeah. Guns and fucking Roses did.
And
whatever.
And Band on the Run is the hardest fucking song to play on Guitar Hero.
and all the other instrumentation
wait,
too.
Nelson, the bass line is easy.
The bass line's king, which is odd because
I love it
because Paul can fucking play, but like Jimmy McCullough was the shit.
What I love, and I know John's about to destroy me on this, but what I love about Paul McCartney is he created a rock band as a bass player, frontman. The bass was pretty much the lead guitar.
Oh, Les Claypool's done it.
Oh yeah, now he's done it. Absolutely now, and I loved it. Oh my god.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
What?
So, it is widely known that Paul had reoccurring dreams of his own death. So here's the story. The lads, just got back from the States. This is the tour where John said all his stuff about how he's famouser than Jesus Christ. So it was a little bit tumultuous. They got a little bit of blowback from that.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'm going to take you back in time to Sunday, September 11th, 1966. Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and their manager, Brian Epstein, were in the studio, and they were doing preliminary work on what was going to be their next album. So Revolver had just come out. So they were doing work on what was going to be Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. Epstein... See, these bands don't work like bands do nowadays. Now their manager runs the show. So Epstein says, Paul, you need to write 5 songs for the next album. John's going to write 5 songs for the next album. The other 2 dinguses are going to write their songs.
Dingus.
So George and Ringo were going to do like 2 or 3 songs or whatever. Paul, for some reason, gets angry. It seems with the research that he is a little bit moody sometimes. So he gets angry and he leaves the studio. It's raining outside. He jumps into what could be a Mini Cooper or his white Aston Martin. Most people think it's the Aston Martin, but I have seen the Mini Cooper as well. And he starts to head home. Along the way, he stops to give the female hitchhiker a lift. The hitchhiker figures out who's picked him up, and she gets super excited. Paul gets distracted, and he rolls through a red light, and the Aston Martin or Mini Cooper gets T-boned by a truck. Paul and the hitchhiker die.
Whoa.
Okay. The story goes on that Paul was decapitated. But either way, the Beatles live on as a studio band and never tour again. They never sell one more ticket after this date.
Interesting.
Skipping ahead a bit, 1969, American college student starts publishing articles claiming that clues to McCartney's death and the idea that he was replaced by a lookalike could be found amongst the lyrics and artwork of Beatles records. Clue hunters and rumors eventually died out after McCartney gave the CIA-funded Time magazine an interview to address what had turned into an international pastime. However, on October 12th, 1969, a caller to Detroit radio station WKNR-FM told the DJ, this guy named Russ Gibbs, about the rumors, which eventually led to a news article that read, "McCartney dead, new evidence brought to light." And it was being picked up by newspapers across the country.
Woof.
On the 19th, October 19th, WK, the same place, NR, FM, played a 2-hour special program called The Beatle Plot, which highlighted all the clues that people had found up until this point. This happened again and again at bigger radio stations, 2 bigger radio stations, and on the 21st, October 21st, 1969, the Beatles press office released a statement denying the death of Paul McCartney and his subsequent replacement.
Hey, Paul, how do you
So
keep your head on?
what do you think?
Bullshit.
No, that all actually happened.
Yeah, I call bullshit.
Hey,
I saw him. I saw him live. It
No,
was
no,
him.
I'm not saying. No. I'm saying all this part actually happened.
Okay.
Okay,
So
people,
they believe that then.
David, people still believe this.
That's
to this day.
crazy.
Okay, we're gonna get into it. All right.
It's crazy. Cray.
I hate.
That's right. So.
Okay, back to the story.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna go back to September, 1966.
September 11th, the original.
Yeah,
night.
just after the crash and death of Paul McCartney. The Beatles were the biggest band in the universe. Beatlemania was Britain's leading cultural export. In the 60s, Britain had a foreign exchange crisis in which the Beatles fixed for a time from just after 1964, when they first came to America. The amount of money these 4 lads from Liverpool was generating was ludicrous. Revolver had just gone platinum, the first time, and that was their 20th platinum disc at the time. It was so ludicrous that it became a factor of how they dealt with the death of McCartney. What were you doing?
Bugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another factor that was weighed in was the grief factor. There was a real fear that teenage girls all over the civilized world would turn to suicide once they had found out that McCartney was dead.
Wow.
Now let's take a look at what the other Beatles were up to just after the crash.
Okay.
Okay, other Beatles. John goes to Spain or Paris. We're not sure which one. Ringo takes off either to Spain or Paris. I imagine he's just going with John. George Harris goes to India to learn yoga and Hindu mysticism. Whatever. Epstein checks himself into a mental institution. These guys were not guys going on vacation. They were getting the fuck out of Dodge. McCartney was nowhere to be found that October.
Interesting.
All right, hold on. This is just, we're getting into it. Like, we're not even to the clues yet.
This is the prelim.
The Beatles never sold another ticket. They became a studio band. They never, again, wore matching outfits, which they were known for. They never did an interview together again, which if you listen to some of these people that were contemporaries when this Beatlemania was happening, that was one of their favorite things, to see them all bantering back and forth with each other. Never again. And I thought that this was interesting. Out of all the things that the Beatles ever did for money, none of them ever wrote an autobiography. Because they were all fucking hiding. We're going to get into it. The clues. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that a bunch of stuff that I'm about to say is going to be crazy. All right, so
Not surprised.
There's anecdotal evidence. There's video, there's film footage of the other Beatles calling Paul William, even though his real name was James. The people go real far to say that before 66 and after 66, their faces are different. And I know everyone's like, get the fuck out, hold on, just hold on to all those fucking shit.
No, you got our attention right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he says I believe it's Magical Mystery Tour. They're doing like little preliminary interviews while they're getting on the bus, and he says that he's 30 at the time when, if he lived normal temporal life parameters that we live in, he would have been 25. And then he also makes this statement. He says, "My Scottish sweater makes me look a little bit younger." The Scottish sweater parts, we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so there's going to be a bunch of goofy stuff here. There's
What?
There's
When?
There's obviously some stinkers, but just keep in mind, I'm also going to dismiss all numerological evidence that's been put forward because it's all bullshit. Until we get to the autobiography of Billy Shears, really the numerology, it's just people grasping for straws.
Right.
All right, so let's start off with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Band album. This is the one, if you guys have your phones and you want to pull these images up while I talk, that's fine.
Okay.
If not, it's okay too.
I trust you a little bit.
This is the one where they are all pretending to be this other band. This is the one where there's like flowers in the foreground with a bust, and they're all holding instruments, and there's a kick drum. And the lads are there dressed up like they're brightly revolutionary clowns or something. I don't.
They have like
understand what
band
these-
uniforms on.
Yeah. It's interesting to note that Aleister Crowley is amongst the people in the thing. All right, so this photo is of a funeral, and you can see the Beatles are the lad Beatles are off to the left side, and they're dressed in black, and they're looking down at where the funeral stuff is happening. They're flowers that spell out the word Beatles. Okay, to the right is this yellow flower in the shape of McCartney's left-hand bass. Also, there is a group of red flowers to the right of the word Beatles, spelled out in red flowers, and that the group of red flowers looks like to be in the shape of a 5. Altogether, 5 Beatles. The real Beatles are all the ones that are dressed up like clowns. The 3 lads are all at angles with brass instruments, while Paul, who we might refer to as Fall for False Paul going forward,
Okay. Nice one.
has a black instrument and is facing the camera straight on. In the gate, now we're going to move to the gatefold. The gatefold opens, and there's a picture of the Beatles and the new guy. On the new guy's shoulder patch, he has a patch that says OPD. Nobody knows what that means. In the States, we call it DOA, which means dead on arrival. In the UK, it's called officially pronounced dead.
Woof.
Okay.
Wow.
So the back of the album cover is iconic. Everybody knows what it is. It's the 3 Beatles are facing us, and the new bloke has his back facing us. Everybody knows this one, but look at it. George, John, and Paul were all used to be the same height. But if you look at the new bloke in the back picture, he is way taller than everybody else. So a lot of people actually have a huge bone of contention with this conspiracy about how tall this new Paul is. How tall he is a big problem with a few of these people. But that part is about to shake a little bit if you're paying attention.
Oh boy.
All right, so we're going to move on to Abbey Road. Abbey Road looks simple, unassuming, sure, nice and easy, straightforward. Yeah, just a couple dudes walking across the street.
Right.
Wrong.
How can you take that away?
Listen.
All right, listening.
All right, look again, and I'm sure what you'll actually see is not just the Fab Four walking across the street. Instead, it's a coded funeral procession, led by the white-clad priestly John Lennon, then the black-clad Undertaker Ringo Starr, then the barefooted dead man Paul McCartney. Also note that Paul is out of step with the rest of the Beatles on the Abbey Road album cover. And then George Harrison is the gravedigger because he's all in blue. I don't know. But what I was going to say about the tallness of Fall is they're all the same size on this album cover. So there's discrepancies. We'll just put that in the back of your mind. All right.
Oh, it's there.
Okay. This sounds weird.
You think?
I understand this sounds a little bit weird, but in 2009, Letterman asked Fall about the Paul is dead rumor. And Fall answers, we did a cover. He's like, hey, how did this whole get started? Do you remember when you were dead? That's what he asked him. And he goes, we did a cover for a record called Abbey Road. And the idea was to walk across this crossing. And I showed up that day with sandals, flip-flops. So, it was hot. It was so hot that I kicked them off and walked across barefooted. And because I'm barefooted, I'm dead. So this answer to me doesn't make any sense, because if it's so fucking hot that he's going to keep his suit on but kick his flip-flops off, wouldn't it hurt his fucking feet? Wouldn't the hot street hurt his goddamn feet? Okay.
Keep rolling.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to get to the Magical Mystery Tour. And that shit starts out real weird, where it's like 4 or 5 wizards were living in a mountain. Why are there 4 or 5 if the Beatles only had 4 fucking dudes?
Lots of drugs.
Okay, here we go. Strawberry Fields Forever. They sing this line, Strawberry Fields, nothing is real. But if you play it backwards, it actually says, we'll sing it, man, will be reversed. Which, as far as I can tell, was the secret code that started millions of hours of people listening to Beatles records backwards. Because they found a bunch of weird shit in Beatles backmasking.
Which, frankly, let me just interject here. Which is wants to happen when you play a fucking record backwards. Like, kill yourself, you little shit.
Yeah. Okay, but listen.
Pink Floyd, Ozzy, we can go on forever.
Okay, but these are the important ones that people point to. Okay. Turn Me On, Dead Man. That's it.
Not please.
You know the one record that goes number 9,
Yeah.
number 9,
Yeah, the White
number
Album.
9. When you play that backwards, it goes Turn Me On, Dead Man, Turn Me On, Dead Man, Turn Me On, Dead Man. Okay. They also found things that say Paul is really dead and Want It Out. They found The Walrus Was Paul. They found I Wish I Was Not a Beatle. They found this is a long one. They found, and really when you listen to this, it's just okay. I am the Beatle, no one. I am the Beatle, no one. For shall thou art something is with us a demon bottle, or no, us a bottle, no, a demon idol. So unleash my answer, mirror with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Nelson answered. Nothing.
I would say, let's see, what I was going to say, I'm like, well, maybe this is where William Peter Blatty got the I am no one thing from The Exorcist.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another one is I need some wheels. Help me, help me, help me. And Paul is missing and Paul is bloody.
Okay. Go on.
Okay, no, those are all the I didn't want to spend too much time on the soundbite. There are literally 400 instances of backward masking. They have one that's not even a backward mask. It's at the end of some song, and John goes, I killed Paul. Or he goes, I buried Paul. That's what he says. I buried Paul. And when someone asked him, why did you say that at the end of the song? He goes, oh, no, I didn't say that. I said cranberry sauce.
I saw a really good documentary where Paul's daughter and him do that together and explain why he carried on with Wings after the death of his wife. So I have a hard time with this, with him being dead.
Well,
his daughter's not believing it.
Okay. So now we're going to get into something that I like to call the book.
The trump card.
Dave, I'm only 7 pages in.
Of 120.
Okay, the book. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this book because a lot of people spend a lot of time on this book. So I'll just explain to you. There's a book called The Memoirs of Billy Shears by the new bloke, who also goes by the name Billy Shepherd. Shepherd or Shears being a reference to a shepherd. Okay. And it had a ghostwriter / encoder named Thomas U. Harriet. And you're like, what does an encoder do on a book? Let me tell you. He goes through and he highlights or bolds certain words on a page. So you can read the whole page, but if you read just the bold words, there's a whole new message. This book is 666 pages long, and every page has this code.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I haven't read it because I don't want to. So, one of the important parts of the book is that they thank Sir Paul McCartney, and they say, "Thank you, Sir Paul McCartney, for all the great material," is what it says. All right, so it's a fictional / historical account by Billy Shepherd / Billy Shears talking about taking over the role of Paul McCartney. The encoder, I already explained what the encoder was, 666 pages. Then there's a second book out called Billy's Back. It's the same credentials as the first book. It's just selections of the first book. They take certain chapters or parts of chapters or whatever, make the book way more easier to read than a 666 coded page book. All right, but he gets into some of the business aspects of how the role switch happened, as well as some of the occult theme stuff, as in Billy talks about summoning Paul's spirit to sort of aid him into taking over, stuff like playing the left-handed bass and how to deal with his interpersonal relationships that he didn't know a whole lot about. This book explains that Shear - Shepherd, whatever, was a guy who used to be known as Billy Pepper. He was the lead singer for a band in Liverpool who used to cover Beatles songs. The name of his band was called Billy and the Pepper Pots. You can actually find some of their stuff on YouTube if you're interested. Okay, now
one question. So this is the guy that initially replaced Paul after his decapitation.
Yes.
Okay, so that would mean that guy's still around working, or is there like a network of Pauls that they like fucking tool out?
There is. They do when you get deep, and I did not get this deep, but when you get deep, there are people that say that there's a difference between a stand-in and a replacement. So if Paul's super busy, he could send a replacement or a stand-in,
a clone,
but they're not the guy who took the role.
Okay.
All right. Like that gets kooky. I don't want to get. I'd like to stick to these cold hard facts right here, please. Okay. So this is one of the ones where you're like, okay, hold on.
Okay.
In 2009, 2 Italian scientists did a study for Wired Italiana.
That's racist.
Why? That's the name of the fucking magazine. I don't know.
Care.
Gabrielle Calrisi is a forensic pathologist. She specializes in comparison of certain features of the skull and forensic odontology, which is the analysis of the teeth. Along with her was Francisco Gizavizi, who is a computer analyst. So these two guys took pictures, a group of pictures from Paul 66 and a group of pictures from Fall post 66.
Okay.
Jammed them up together and did a scientific study. And you want to see some gross shit? You take a look at Paul McCartney's mouth, just a big blown up picture of his mouth, a whole page of it, just back to back to back to back to back. Paul McCartney and Fall's mouths like this open so you can see their teeth. It's fucking, it's like the Scarlet Pit.
Well, yeah.
It's a little obsessive, actually.
Well, I mean, that's their data set. They're checking.
Wow.
Okay. So they ran all their data, their analogs or whatever, and they went into this wanting to debunk the claim. They're like, we're going to put this stupid fucking theory to rest.
Right.
Instead, they wound up being converts because photos taken prior to 66 match each other, and photos taken after 67 match each other. But the two sets don't match. 66 to 67 don't match themselves.
Well, it's really easy to figure that out because, Paul was a fucking multimillionaire and had his fucking nasty teeth fixed.
No, so yeah,
Bloody hell.
No, but it's not just that's what I'm saying. It's not just the teeth. The frontal curvature of the jaw is totally different. That's this.
Right.
Okay. And and then the jaw arc, which is this way, is totally different. And some features of the ears are different too. And I'll stick with that one. You look at a picture of these two dudes' ears, they look weird.
Interesting.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah, but look at these teeth side by side, and you just you're never going to get a hard on again. For at least until you can get that image out of your head.
Not from fucking Paul McCartney, anyway.
So some folks talk about this voice pattern test where these guys took 3 songs, and they figured out that they don't sound anything alike. Okay, but this is all just scratching the surface. All of the scratching the surface of all the assembled evidence. But as this primer is winding down, I want to know where you guys are at this point. Do you think there's any validity to it? Here, let me ask you.
No.
Do you think the biological Paul died and was replaced?
No.
Just like Peter Criss. Or like Ace Frehley was. Like just slap a fresh coat of paint on a new guy and move him in?
Yeah, but they were very obvious about that.
Okay. Is it just all some kind of wild and crazy rumor that's spun out of control?
Yes.
If so, how does one explain the different features and the wild new direction of the band?
Go ahead, Dave. You want to take it first? Or?
I saw Paul.
I know, but
We were like 25 rows from the back.
no,
I mean,
you
they
saw
were
Fall.
Amazing.
You saw Fall.
I really don't believe that.
Okay, do you
I
think?
can't believe this one.
Do you think it could have been a rumor that they actually fed and kept people talking, like a marketing thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would totally buy into that.
I would. Yeah, I'd buy that.
Okay.
But no, Paul's alive and well.
No, Fall is alive. You have to commit. All right.
We're
this
allowed to disagree. That's the whole point of this.
This is what I thought. I thought the lads were in America. Something awful happened. I don't know what it was. Something crazy happened in '66. They got home. In all likelihood, they probably fucking hated each other at the time. They don't want to spend time with each other on the road.
No doubt about that.
They don't want to spend time with each other on the road. So Bill, or this Epstein character, comes out and says, we're not touring anymore. They're never going to tour again. We're a studio band from now on. And for some reason or another, they all hated Paul for it. I think the songs and stuff that they wrote besmirched Paul a lot.
Individual, yeah. They all did their own shit. So I just don't see.
Like,
Paul
listen.
being
So
beheaded.
So listen. So Come Together is about the Beatles. So each verse is about, the flat old top was George, the toe jam football was Ringo, the armchair disease was John. Listen to what they say about Paul. He roller coaster. He got early warning because he had visions of his own death. He got muddy water. He won Mojo Filter. He say that 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. Got to be good looking because he's so hard to see. This whole verse is about hiding and obfuscating an illusion.
Or
I believe that.
Or I think it's John taking a really big swipe at Paul because Paul was a good looking guy.
Nelson,
you know what I thought?
Nelson, you nailed it right there.
You know what
I agree with that completely.
He was not a good looking guy. What the fuck are you? They all look like hobbits.
John. They were the two of those frontmen. They were jealous of each other big time. You can't deny that.
Do you know what I thought this song was about when I was a kid? I thought it was about a 3-way with real gross looking dudes.
And it's and there's no proof that it isn't because I don't see Ringo going for that shit.
But he's saying one.
Don't do that to my George. He's a nice guy.
He's saying 1 and 1 and 1. They're the 3 Beatles, and then this other guy who no one could see because he's camouflaged.
There was at the time in the UK there were two gang factions. It was the Mods and the Rockers. Okay, and what they called a really good-looking guy. If you were a really good-looking guy, they would call you a face. Okay, so there was
hence the faces that came later on.
The faces. Yeah. There was even a song called "I'm the Face."
Yeah.
So, and Paul was always considered one of the 2 faces for the band because nobody gave a fuck about Ringo or George for a multitude of reasons. And who thought Ringo would be the useful Beatle at this point in the 21st century? I see that just as John giving Paul the finger. I mean, the band had slowly been deteriorating since they got back from America, and then never toured. after that. Probably because you got 4 25-year-olds who were suddenly millionaires. And they're playing all over the place and people are screaming their balls off. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. That would kind of put you off touring because, again, that was like something that really wasn't, like, nobody went on big, massive tours like that at that time.
But really important, and really important for you too, John. Honestly, like, how many bands in our time had 2 frontmen? Three Dog Night, like the 70s. And they had problems too. I mean, the 2 guys wanted to be the forefront of the writing and the girls and the singing, and they were both the lead singers of that band. That's a difficult situation.
Well, and the thing is, all 4 of them could sing. I mean, that was one of the cues that Kiss, and that's one of the things that Kiss took from it. Is like there were 4 front men of the band. Not really, but it was mostly Gene and Paul doing all of the lifting.
Absolutely.
And I think, digging in a little deeper, I don't think a band whose hits were "She Loves You," "Yeah, Yeah, Yeah," "I Want to Hold Your Hand," "I Want to Hold Your Hand," "I Want to Hold Your Hand." That's your, okay. It's simple enough. It gets stuck in your head and stuff. I don't think that they could pull off that many clues if they were legitimately trying to replace Paul and not have anybody fucking know about it. It was like, well, here, we'll throw out these. Hey, Paul, let's do these little Easter eggs and see if anyone thinks you're dead.
Well, the thing is they felt guilty, and putting the clues in was a way to alleviate their conscience a little bit.
Yeah, but I think that probably after the disbandment of the Beatles, you would think that would kind of like wear off. I mean,
well, I'm pretty sure it's also a felony. That probably is why they kept their trap shut.
Look, the smart Beatle, which perpetually, in my opinion, is Ringo. Ringo lives in Monte Carlo. Does Ringo pay taxes? Ringo says, fuck your taxes. He lives in fucking Monte Carlo. He hangs out and
They don't collect taxes in Monte Carlo?
No, that's why he lives there.
And he had a sense of humor. That was the best part about Ringo.
And he managed, and he was a fucking smoking drummer. He was a very influential guy. He could play with anybody who he wants, and he does. And he gets up. And
the
he's
Ringo
like,
All-Star Band.
Yeah, like, and it's like, it's the biggest dick job for music touring ever, because it's like, hey, why don't I just get all my friends, we'll play a couple of their fucking hits, we'll do a couple Beatles songs and laugh all the way back to the
Tom
next
Petty.
city. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So I legit don't think that they could have pulled off. I mean, it's an interesting conspiracy theory. It really is.
It
I
is.
mean, it's engrossing, and it's one of the reasons why the Abercast is like the second highest rated fucking show on the network. Yeah. It's completely engaging.
Frighteningly so.
And it's completely engaging and captivating. I just don't think between...
Well, I haven't even told you guys about the paternity test yet.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
shit. Is this with Stella?
Yeah, he's got to trump us right now.
Is this with Stella?
No.
No. Was it Shecky McCartney? Who's?
No.
All right. Do your nastiest.
Do it, man.
All right, here we go. This is not from the fucking National Enquirer. This is The Guardian, May 2007. A German woman who claimed to be the daughter of Sir Paul McCartney suffered a blow to her case when prosecutors said that they were abandoning the investigation. Bettina Christabin, 46, claimed that a blood sample from 1984, supposedly given by the former Beatle after a court order, was that of a stand-in. She took the case to Berlin prosecutors, who opened up an inquiry to the alleged fraud. But yesterday, the prosecutor's office said that they were dropping the case. A spokesman said that the 1984 file had been studied, but it was concluded that the alleged incident happened too long ago. Even if the criminal offense, which was claimed was in fact committed, the statute of limitations has now expired. He said the statute of limitations for fraud is only 5 years. Miss Christabin, a carer for elderly people in Berlin, believes that she was conceived during an affair between McCartney and her mother, Erika Hubers, when the Beatles were playing in Hamburg. Asked why she had waited so long to bring the case, Miss Christabin said she told Die Welt, which I guess is a German newspaper,
The wound.
She thought that the case file had been destroyed. It was first made aware of the fraud this year. She said that she found a photograph in which stated it was one of the people who had submitted the blood sample, and it was definitely not Paul McCartney. She said on a hearing the prosecutor's decision, she told the German media, "Now I will never find peace. I just wish that my father would own up to being my father. I'm not interested in his inheritance." She said that the first time she had found the alleged affair was when she discovered her mother's diaries and letters. McCartney had declined to comment in the past. He said he had no memory of meeting Miss Hubers in 1966. He agreed to pay a settled child maintenance claim for Miss Hubers. The agreement did not admit paternity. McCartney said that he only agreed to pay because the German officials threatened to prevent him from touring the country while the dispute was outstanding.
I believe.
Okay.
It's believable.
Here's the next one.
In our time right now, that's extremely believable.
Okay.
What? Now what are you going to do?
McCartney.
Why are you destroying my childhood?
McCartney fraud charged over love child. This is from the Telegraph, same year, 2007. Sir Paul McCartney is faced fraud charges in Germany after a German woman who said that she was his love child claimed the former Beatles faked a paternity test. He didn't just...
Paul faked all of his orgasms, yeah.
The case is the latest twist in a paternity battle over Miss Ketruchabin, I can't say that fucking name, who is now 46, that has rumbled on for decades. Miss Ketruchabin, who has 2 children of her own, lives in Berlin, but says that she was conceived in Hamburg in 1960 before the Beatles rose to world fame. She claimed that Sir Paul sent a double to carry out a paternity test 20 years ago, which apparently proved that he was not her father. So what happened? Let me break this down. Paul has a love child, but they're trying to get DNA from Paul. They're trying to get it from Fall, proving that Paul is not this woman's daughter.
Okay, no. Here's why I don't buy that. It's not that I disbelieve that Paul McCartney paid somebody else to squirt one off in a jar and be like, yeah, I mean, how maniacally hilarious would it be? It's like, hey, you want to make an extra 20 quid? Yeah, fill this up. Here's a picture of a couple of girls snogging, eh?
All right.
I don't dispute that he probably knocked up, because look, they played Germany. They played their asses off in Germany for years before they got famous. So it's no surprise that he probably fathered more than just that girl right there. I don't think that has anything to do with the said conspiracy.
I would agree.
All right. Let's see here.
Here we go.
But wait, there's more.
The signature on the document he signed at the time was false, she said. We found the signature, and it is from a right-handed person. Paul was left-handed. You can tell by the way it slants. You don't need to be Columbo to figure this out.
What, the pen? Or his dong?
His bass guitar? What are we basing this on?
Well, again, I mean, if you're going to be like, it's like, hey, show up, say you're me, fill this up, I'll give you 20 pounds, walk away. I don't think that holds stock really with the fall theory.
All right. Paul and I were teenagers in Hamburg and very much in love. You know how teenagers are. We were together for 2 years between 1960 and 1962. And I know for sure Bettina is his because I was completely faithful for that time. I don't know if he was, but I was.
Unlikely.
Miss Hubers, why are you besmirching this woman? Miss Hubers, the former a former nightclub waitress, alleged that Sir Paul's lawyers had approached her 3 years after Bettina was born, offering to buy her silence. They paid me 16,000 German marks to keep my mouth shut, she said, then adding that 30,000 marks were paid to German social services, which assisted single mothers. I wasn't allowed to speak. I was forced to keep silent, and I never told my daughter until she was 12 years old that she had never met her father.
Okay, now again, I'm not saying he didn't knock her up.
Yeah.
My interjection in there was, it's like, like we were 2 teenagers in love. Yeah, you're 2 teenagers in love in Germany. One of you is English and probably, banging girls like a screen door in a hurricane. So I don't,
You don't find the whole thing like with the signature. You don't find that messed up?
No, because I think if you're going to hire somebody to pretend to be Paul McCartney's dick and you're not Paul McCartney's dick, something's going to slant differently, whether it be your penmanship, your signature,
Okay, so
or otherwise.
if he sends a double from England to Germany to take this paternity test, he's going to have a passport with Paul McCartney's name on it.
Well, if you got more money than the Queen,
Well, he's going to send a submarine.
well, he's gonna
A
send
yellow
somebody-
one.
He's going to send somebody who vaguely looks like him and said, "Here, just you're Paul McCartney for a fucking day. Go to Germany, wank off in this thing, come back and keep your mouth shut, and you'll get a nice paycheck."
So does that make him more or less of a scumbag?
It makes him a rock star.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's
That's the bottom line.
like, look, if we've learned nothing from Kiss Meets the Phantom, rock and rollers don't bathe. They're all scumbags. Look at fucking, all right, Liv Tyler, perfect example. Liv Tyler was completely under the impression that Todd Rundgren was her dad, and he didn't find out that it was Steven Tyler's kid until BB Buell was dropping Liv in the room. I'm like, by the way, Todd, you're not the dad. Bye.
Huh. I've never heard that story.
Sad but true. No,
Yeah.
it's true. Very true.
Dun.
So, yeah, I mean, like, So I mean that's like rock and roll cliche number one. It's like, no, baby, I love you. No, I ain't the daddy.
No, I'm not talking about banging chicks. Shit, I've banged a
Billie
bunch of
Jean.
chicks.
What about
I'm-
Billie Jean? It's right there. Michael Jackson. Even he said it.
Even he said what?
Billie Jean. You don't know the story? Guys, really?
Paul McCartney fucked Michael
I'm
Jackson.
not-
Holy shit!
Have you not listened to the words to Billie Jean?
And Janet. is
Not
the
since 1986.
It's all over
when
the
they played
radio
it,
again.
they would interrupt Billie
No,
Jean
I'm
to
saying
play
it
Billie
started
Jean
back
over
then.
again.
It started back then, man. Like, and he was not interested in girls, but a
I
girl
just-
called him out and said, "This is your son."
My thing is, I don't think it factors in because it's too easily explained away that it's like Paul just paid somebody else. If you're going to buy the whole fall thing, I don't think that factors into it as heavily. I think Paul was just not being a good guy, didn't want to get caught looking like a douche, settled quietly, and walked away.
All right. Yeah, I don't believe it at all.
Yeah,
I don't believe any of that.
but I enjoy.
Now he says it.
I enjoy the passion for which you were arguing the point that you didn't even buy.
Yeah. No, I look at some of the stuff and I think it is a little bit weird, but I think ultimately they realized how much play they were getting on this rumor that spun out of control, and they're like, we're just going to keep fucking with people.
Well,
about this.
exactly. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? The fucking okay, and I'm turning it around. I'm pulling a David Fairhead. This is exactly the Free Pony campaign right here.
Oh God!
It's fucking stupid. It's fun. It's hilarious. And it's so ridiculous. There's not a reason in the world not to perpetuate. And I won't go into the whole details of the Free Pony thing, but I mean, it's a gimmick. It's an absolute gimmick.
We need to. Come on, we can't push it on this show too.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do whatever you got to
No,
do.
you do it. Your first pros.
Oh, my God. I just took a slug of this thing. I need
So
to
what? Take another slug. Do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
talk about Free Ponies.
Okay, Free Ponies. All right, there's a book that contains the three of us. It is called David J. Fairhead's, ironically, Fiends of the Flesh. It is from Burning Bulb Publishing.
My bros know all about it.
Right. Well, John did the cover, and it is also I think
cover.
what we tend to skip over, even on Red Horse, is this is the first published prose from John Towers,
John
and
Towers.
it's a great story.
Oh, well, thank you.
Fantastic story.
Hey, thank you for including me, by the way. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
What was
So-
that? The third one in. Oh, second one. And then Nelson. Yeah. Hell yeah. Love that story.
So the Free Pony thing is if you buy this book, and if you buy it in paperback, and you take a picture of the book and you tag me in the book. My name's Nelson. How you doing? And I will send you. I will hit you up for your address. And I will send you a free pony. And it's not just a pony. I just sent out ponies today, but I also included other stuff. Lots of cool Nelson swag. I don't want to get into what it is, but it's not just a pony, kids. So do that.
It's
and
a
if
pony
you get
LX.
it's
Yeah.
it's a super pony.
Nelson got on my shit about not sending ponies out, but I send comic books out, digital comic books, man. You got get the WZWAs with me and John. Our first 4 issues digitally. If you buy the comic, hit me up. Or if you buy it from Nelson, let me know. I'll still send it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to supplement your pony,
Exactly.
hit up Dave, and he will send you digital comics, which is a lot better than a digital rectal exam.
A lot better.
A lot
actually.
better than a digital rectal exam.
I agree.
Why
with
are we
that.
all agreeing on that?
Because when you get to that age,
I don't know.
it's happening.
I've kept the seal shut. I'm living on. Doing risky business.
You're gonna have to, put
Yeah,
the John
John's
Mathis
a
on.
bit. John's a bit younger than us. Just
That's
a
true.
bit.
And I will just say, just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
You'll get yours too.
Good times ahead.
All right. Do you want to throw out links or?
Sure, man. Facebook.com/Nelson.Pyles. Instagram, Nelson.Pyles.
Oh, you're doing your videos now.
Yeah, I got videos out the yin yang. I'll show you guys. My daughter just made a video for the ponies, which is fucking hilarious. Twitter @NelsonWPyles. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up at the end of the summer. Really big one. The Blade Runner thing is coming up sooner than later.
The Blade Runner thing.
And I will kick it over to Dave.
Please. All right. Yeah.
Please shut up, motherfucker.
No.
Nelson talks too much.
www.fairlydarkproductions.com. Get all the shows, Kettle Whistle Radio, and all the swag. All the books are there. And, of course, we have to plug www.society-13.com for all our shows.
Please.
Always go to stigmatastudios.com. We got you through this 1 hour of your fucking miserable cubicle life, and you're like,
Yes.
I need to know what to listen to next. Can you please help me? My
Yes.
answer is yes. Go to society-13.com.
Hell yeah.
We got a ton of great podcasts, and they're not all like this. You can find ones where they don't even use the F word. So
Not many. There's not many.
We'll keep you busy, though. There's a lot of good stuff there.
But I'll tell you what, the queens are on vacation for the summer.
I know, man,
But
it
get
broke my
caught
heart.
up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
get
but
caught up on the queens.
The pop-off, though, I'm doing a crossover with them, and you guys are welcome if you want to. We're going to interview some ghost chasers out in Newcastle. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
scary.
Yeah, Martise and the pop-off.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up?
At Fairly Dark on Twitter.
Hey, awesome seeing you guys. It is very rare that the three
Very
of us
rare.
converge. I mean,
Yes.
think back to when
Red Horse Radio?
Rickert and Beagle Books was LJ's, and we all converged. We all converged in that place.
We just
It's
did
like-
some high fives.
It's
in
like the
studio.
living tribunal.
Right.
All right.
All right. Let's go kill some neighbors.
Indeed.
Thanks, John.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you guys. I
Stigmata Studios presents The Scorpion Strikes. In this comic book, a terrorist called the Scorpion is transported to a secret CIA prison. He quickly turns the tables on the guards and administrators and releases the prisoners. A well-armed anarchist called Constituent Zero assembles a team and fights to take the prison back. This story is a dark political action thriller. The Scorpion's actions set the stage perfectly for the Jin Jihad. Available on Indie Planet. Get more info on The Scorpion Strikes, the Jin Jihad, and other titles at stigmatastudios.com. Stigmata Studios presents The Test of the Scorpion. In this comic book, while the Jin Jihad is raging on one side of the city, the terrorist called the Scorpion sets a secondary attack in motion as he obtains a small tactical nuclear bomb. A mysterious, ever-living warrior called Cyrus the Dead Guy steps forward to test the faith of the Scorpion and his lunatic followers. This is an action-adventure story It's a bit of swashbuckler that wraps up the Jihad stories. Available on Indie Planet. Get more info on the Scorpion Strikes, the Jin Jihad, the Test of the Scorpion, and other titles at stigmatastudios.com.
What the fuck is that?
He didn't get it. We got it. We got nailed.
I got it. This is Soda Jerk.
Right now I don't.
That was like the best fucking accident ever.
We're gonna start over again.
And the goodbye begins again.
Oh, I can't. When you putting this up?
Oh, probably 10 minutes after I drop them off.
No, it goes up next Sunday.
Nice.
I had my first sip.
Nice. Hey, are you still listening, kids? Everybody at home, you should.
We still on?
Fucking right on, man.
Currently listening to Soda Jerk. What's the song, John?
It's called Fucking Fight.
Is that right there? Well timed.
Good stuff.
Fucking fight. Yeehaw. I usually sing along. I'm sure it agitates everybody.
Well, yeah, but
No, just the band.
Oh,
You want some wrestling figures?
Got a bunch.
certainly don't want a digital rectal exam. I think Yoko had Paul decapitated in advance, and she really hated the new guy too, so she broke up the Beatles.
See, now that's a believable theory. I like
Yeah,
that.
play this.
I hate you too.
Wait, not Julian. What's the other side? Sean.
Sean.
Sean could have been behind all of it.
No. I would